welcome back to the Cozy Arts. I am Cozy and it's Craftmas. This is just a little PSA. This is just your sign to make a Triforce blanket. This is not my pattern, but I will link it below. I found it pretty easily just by searching for Triforce blanket, and look at how beautiful. If you are thinking, I crochet, but I don't know how to make anything like that, this is a great pattern. If you know the basic stitches, but you're a little intimidated by reading a chart, this is an excellent pattern to get into that. It's really simple and the math is so pleasant. It's always 10 spaces. It's always 10 spaces between the triangles, and then the triangles, the math goes up, then the math goes down. So once you know the basic pattern, you don't have to look at the pattern. So you can take this with you and just know what to do easily. It's really easy to do the math and figure it out, and it's just really cute. This is a great pattern to make, and it's not Christmas. You can just make it for yourself any time of year, any color you want. Make yourself a Triforce blanket. It's beautiful. Now when you're starting your very first row, which I've done so long ago, the pattern is made for a baby blanket, but if you look in the comments of the pattern, she does give you the information you need to add size, and she throws out an example that I've used as my number. My only complaint with using that number is I have the beginning of the row with the triangle pointing up and the end of the row with the triangle pointing down. And I personally would prefer it to be even on both sides, but I asked my partner if he cared and he did not, so I didn't want to unpick the entire thing. I personally hate stitching into chains, so instead of doing chains, I did a foundation double crochet. That's the only real difference. And one thing that I would advise that I do every time I do a blanket, which isn't that often because I hate the initial row, that first row, it's the worst. It's the worst. But what I like to do is I like to put a stitch marker every 10 stitches, and that way, or every 10 chains, and that way I can easily count, because I'm going to lose count, so then I can easily count and see where I am at. Because I lose stitch counters so easily, for a stitch marker I usually use like a safety pin. They're just not as aesthetic and cute and fun, but they are cheap and plentiful in terms of the quantities that you get. So we begin with a chain of 2. I already have my 2 double crochets, so we're ready to do this pattern. Now the first line uses your whole brain. Don't be trying to watch things and pay attention while you're doing the first line. You gotta think. After the first line, the second line takes like some of your brain. After that, you can use much less of your brain for the counting and zone out a little bit more, watch something interesting, just nothing with subtitles. Because who can crochet and read subtitles? I cannot. Now this first chain is not a stitch, so we are going right into this first stitch for our first double crochet. And we're going to do 5 double crochets, and then we're going to begin our first Triforce. So I've got, we don't count this one, 1, 2, 3. 4, 5, and this first triangle, if you look at the chart, this is where we begin our skips. So to make this whole, we're gonna just skip. So we're gonna do a chain, we're gonna skip this stitch, and we're going to go into this next one. And then boom. We know how to read a chart, we know how to make a beautiful pattern like this. We've got it. I'm gonna do 12 of these across. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. What? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, great. So I've got 12 of these. If you've already done a set, it lines up, this last stitch lines up with this first one here. So these line up. But now there's always 10 stitches between these. So if you know that you finished a line of your Triforce, you know you've got to do 10. And 10 includes this last stitch here. This is finishing the Triforce, and this is the first of our 10. Now we're going to do just one, because we're doing the very tip of the Triforce. So we're just chaining one, skipping one. So now this is the first of our next 10. So we do 9 more. As we continue, this is going to get smaller and this is going to get bigger. We finished that line and we flip it over. So we're now working on the other side of the blanket, and we're going to come back. So we begin like last time with 2 chains. We're not going to count this as our first stitch. We are going in right next to this. Now you can figure out how many stitches you need for this one and count them, but I don't. I don't do that. Instead, I just keep going until I get to just before here. So now we have 1 stitch and then the stitch and then the skip. So we are going into this one here, but this one we are skipping. So we're going to skip over this last stitch before the hole, chain 1, and we're going to double crochet into that hole. I prefer just to go into the hole because it's a lot faster. For this row of double crochets that is over the bottom of the Triforce, I go into each of the stitches, but that takes a lot longer. And I don't know that it's really, I don't know that the effect is worth the effort. So I decided to do that just for 1 row of each set. Here we have our 2 holes. So it's going to increase. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So as we go up. And now I'm going to do my 10 in between stitches. So we've got 1, 2, and so on. And 9. So now here we're on top of that stitch before we began our holes. And then 10 is inside of the hole, because this one is shrinking. Now we want to make our triangle going up. Now we have 12 holes here, but we're not doing a 12-hole triangle, we're doing a 6-hole triangle. So this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, this bar here is technically the dividing bar between the triangles. As we go up and the triangles decrease, each time this dividing bar is going to be adding 2. So we're going to go from 1 to 3 dividing bars. Now we've got to make 5 holes, 5 of our open squares. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the open squares. And so now we are going to do 3 to divide because we have the 1 in the middle that divides these 2 triangles. And now we're going to add 2. I'm gonna make it 3. So I have 1 here in the hole. So I'm gonna go on top of the stitch, and then I'm gonna go back in the hole. I'm gonna do it correctly. Yay! So this is our 3. And then the next time we're gonna add 2. So we'll have 5 and then add 2, 7, add 2, 9, add 2, 11. So we are always adding 2 to the middle that separates the triangles. Now we're gonna do 5 more open squares. And we have 5 on this side of the triangle. Okay, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so now we are going to make our next stitch on top of this stitch here. And now we are into the space between triangles. So we're gonna have 10 total, and these 2 right here are our first 2. It is so close to being finished. 7, 8, I think I got 9 rows of Triforces. So really all I have left to do is, oh no, I lost a stitch. Now I gotta go get my crochet hook. But all I have left to do is snip it and weave in the end. So then it's time to wrap it up, baby. Thank you so much for joining me today, and may your day be cozy. I'll see you next time.